On today's episode of Living Testimony, we gonna walk you down through there with patches the dread. Don't miss it.
Next time you see him, nigga, walk.
Testimony, patches the dread. We gonna walk you down through there with patches the dread. Don't miss.
We are back in the Love Deposit Studios for another epic episode of Living Testimony. Today, I have with me someone that I've been knowing for more than 30 years. We've had a past, a checkered past, and a great growth spurt. He has multiple names, started in hip-hop and ended up as a superintendent. If you don't know him, you're going to get to know him, and I'm going to walk you down through there. We have none other than Dr. Anthony Jefferson. How you doing today, sir?
What's going on, people? I'm loving that love deposits. We should get more of that. I'm loving that. It's in the right place to be.
Hey, man, listen. It's all about giving back, right? If we take and take and take and we never give back, we're left with nothing. So, yeah, it's a love deposit. And I'm glad to partner with these guys, Alex McDaniel and JoJo. Man, listen, shout out to you guys. This is going to be another epic episode. So let's get right into it, because I want to walk people down through your history. And I want to understand whether you came up with a silver spoon or whether there was some difficulty. So tell me this. What part of town did you grow up in?
Straight out of Mississippi. As soon as we came to Texas, we grew up straight up in Southern Oak Apartments, right there off Overton, if you're familiar with that.
Okay.
And,
so you're from Mississippi. What part of Mississippi?
I was born in Lumberton Memorial Hospital.
Lumberton, Mississippi.
Yeah, my mother had left Mississippi at 17, because back then, if you were 17, you know, it was shined upon to be pregnant with a child, and I was that child. She got put on that bus and sent her to Dallas, Texas, to be with my grandmother, rest in peace, Juanita Martin, which we started out at Southern Oak Apartments.
Okay.
You know, and,
so Southern Oaks Apartments. Now I've heard those apartments a few times on this series. Now, what part of town is Southern Oaks in?
It's in South Oak Cliff, right off Overton in Illinois.
Okay.
It's where we got our start. You know, we used to come home and be, mother be mad. She get off the bus, we flipping on pissy mattresses. We didn't know they was pissy. We was just flipping, First and 15 come, we be on sugar sandwiches and relish bread. I know you don't know nothing about that, Vivo.
Man, I probably know about more.
That sugar water when you ride the Kool-Aid,
So tell me this. You said we would be flipping on pissy mattresses and we had relish sandwiches and sugar sandwiches. That would indicate a level of poverty. So when you say we, how many siblings did you have?
I have two brothers, Tyrone and Willie. Shout out to Ski and T. And my two cousins who live with us, they came from California, was dropped off with my grandmother, Kurt D and Tim, Shout out to them.
Okay.
We always together in Southern Oaks, in one bedroom, just doing our thing, growing up, coming up.
So a 1-bedroom apartment, about 5 or 6 people, and there's not much food. So tell me this. What elementary school did you go to?
Actually, I went to St. Anthony. It's a Catholic school in South Dallas.
Okay.
My aunt was a teacher in Chicago and wanted to make sure that she would send money to make sure we didn't go to public school. So she made sure we went to private school. I went to St. Anthony from 2nd grade to 3rd grade. Went to St. Philip's. Then I went to St. John 23rd, right there off Marsalis. I don't know why they called it the Catholic school. It was right in the middle of the hood. Like, we be in uniform, scrapping and everything. Right there. Brothers trying to jack you for your boots and all of that. So 8th grade, all the way to 8th grade, then I ended up going to a magnet school called Business Magnet. And that's where I met, my partner brother, LA the player. Well, that's all we're going to say about that. That's where we got our start.
Okay. So when you tell me about your beginnings, obviously they were humble, but it sounded like from your aunt in Chicago there was an emphasis placed on education. Would you say that?
Oh yeah, she didn't play about that. She always used to say, "But I had something in me." She used to tell my mom, it's something he's supposed to do. The children love him. He's gonna be somebody one day. I'd be like, "Nah, I want to be a rapper." I'd be like, "I'm gonna hang one of them kids. I'm not teaching no kids or teaching school." I used to say that, but my aunt, she just kept pushing me for some reason, and I ended up being, on that path.
Okay. Oh, that's good, and that's a great foundation to establish. So you moved from Southern Oaks. Where do you end up next?
We left Southern Oaks, and then we moved to Briarcliff Apartments. That's where I ran into you guys. Ralph Tresman. What's the brother
Campbell.
Tevin Campbell stayed in the
Roy
apartments. Roy
Hargrove.
Yeah. It was like a wealth of talent in those apartments. I don't know what it was with that. That's when the rapping game started. We used to rap outside. Be by the pool. That's where
Break
those good old days. That's where everything was.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was we all know the hip hop started in New York, but that was hip hop right there. It was hip hop in Dallas right there in Briarcliff Apartments.
Briarcliff Apartments. So when I talk about that, a lot of people don't know about it because we say that it was near Keystone Polk. It was near Keystone Polk. Matter of fact, we both went to church near Keystone Polk as well. Went to the same 7-Eleven, same neighborhoods. But Briarcliff Apartment had a very, very treacherous name and background. Tell me about some of the things you may have seen or heard about when you were there.
Well, I'm not gonna say no names. I remember outside playing, witnessed somebody drowning in a pool. Witnesses, one of our partners, getting shot on accident with a rifle. You were there, we ain't gonna say no names, but I remember some tragic times in those apartments. I remember like when drugs first came, when the Jamaicans came, we didn't know anything about that. We didn't have gang banging, We was battling over streets, We witnessed all that right there in Briarcliff.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. I try to tell people that. So tell me this. So you end up going to Catholic school, which was a great decision. The same thing happened to me. We went to some of the same schools. And did it give you a head start on education as it relates to the public school system, do you think?
Man, that's hard. That's really hard for me to say, I just think it's within, because I know some brilliant people from the public school. I think, people get their education by the things they go through in life and what's within them,
Okay.
So that's hard for me to answer. I can't say,
Okay, so to you, it's based on your internal fortitude and your frame of reference.
Yeah, to me, yeah, I would say that it's based on, first of all, understanding what you're born for and what your gift is. And being able to know what your gift is, once you have knowledge of that, then you can accomplish anything. You can accomplish all your goals. You become unstoppable. But you have to know what your gift is. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't have access to their gift or know what their gift is yet, what they're born for, and what they need to achieve.
That's amazing. So let me back up then. You talked about assessing your gift and understanding your purpose and working towards that. But so many times I hear people say, man, it's the environment. And we've been in some rough environments. It's the environment, and that's why I can't get out. So tell me, were there any things while you were chasing education and exploring your gifts and your talents that may have changed the trajectory of your life?
Well, speaking for me, sometimes some people can either like deal with adversity and like give up, or deal with adversity and be like, you know what, watch what I do next. I'm there, watch what I do next person. I used to say when I was little, I'm gonna have a big old house. I used to say this all the time. I'm gonna have a big old house. I ain't gonna have to put up with, your kinfolk coming in and out of prison, y'all all sleeping on the couch, everybody fussing and fighting all the time. I just didn't want that for my life when I grew up.
You had a choice.
I just chose. Yeah, I just decided, I ain't want that.
Okay. So tell me this. Did you grow up with a silver spoon?
Man, that sucker was like rusty. It wasn't silver. If we found a spoon, it was, nah, we better find a spam sandwich fry you a spam sandwich and put some mustard on it. Lucky to find a spoon.
And that was a trick question because I know, being in the environments that you were in
Yeah.
and that I was in and knowing your family, I knew you didn't grow up with a silver spoon. But what I'm trying to illustrate here is that despite having humble beginnings and difficulty, there seems to be a way out of no way. So I got a question for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Did you grow up in a two-parent household?
Nah, Pops was on, he was on crack. He was homeless. It was my mother and my grandmother we all grew up with. My mother and my grandmother.
And so that is an important fact for me, and I wanted to call that out because I've had multiple people on here, including myself. I talked about my father, being a pimp and being addicted to drugs, and it impacts your life. So your father was on crack. He was homeless. Now tell me, how did that impact you?
Oh no, I just still love my father. I remember running when I was 13. I ran away from home just to go find my pops, and I found him down there under the bridge. So I spent a couple of days under the bridge with the homeless people, and I met some good people down there, And it was this homeless dude that told me, he was like, "Yo, young blood, you're gonna be a teacher one day." It's like he almost like, I looked at him like, "Hey, I'm not gonna be a teacher." It's like he told my future. I never saw him again after that. The dude told me my future, and I end up, it's been a great journey since then, It's been a great journey.
So we always have a crossroad, and I would assume, growing up in some of the situations you were in, you've seen things, experienced things, and you had a crossroad where you could have decided, I'm gonna go south, I'm gonna go west, I'm gonna go north, I'm gonna go east, and I don't know where that would have led you, but what made you continue to push forward despite losing a couple of friends?
I'm just one of those dudes, Vibo. Like, when you come for me, I put the armor on and I'm like, I'm gangster when it comes to like, man, I'm God's son. Like when I say that, when like I get in that zone and like adversity come on, like I'm ready to go. Like that's just who I am. Like I've always been that way. Just bring it on. See what I do next.
I know you've been an inspiration to several, and oddly enough, for the viewers, I've mentioned one school multiple times, and I'll share this with the viewers. Many of the people that I've interviewed have ended up saying this school's name, and it's Roosevelt High School.
Roosevelt.
So tell me about your time at Roosevelt.
Actually, Roosevelt High School, Roosevelt was the neighborhood high school in South Oak Cliff. It's one of the toughest areas that you could imagine in Dallas at that time. Even though Roosevelt was my high school, but I went to magnet school. The magnet schools were the schools where you can go to, like if you wanted to pursue the arts or business. I ended up going to business magnet. To be honest, I tried to get in arts magnet, but I realized they realized I couldn't act. So that was my second choice. So I ended up at business magnet, right? And Roosevelt was just one of those schools. Matter of fact, Roosevelt used to be, back in the day, the black school in Dallas. That's where everybody went to. It was a prominent African-American school for black people, Over the years, when the crack era came, that affected everybody in everybody's neighborhood, So we ain't gonna go into that. But you already know.
Yeah, I know exactly. I know what we saw, we smelled, and what we lived. So it's intriguing enough. You decide to go to university. Where did you end up going first?
Well, actually, I had a deal. Me and LA Player, we had a deal to sign with this record company. Or there was a decision I had to make to go to school or to focus on rap, right? So my mother had, married this guy who's a teacher, rest in peace, Joe Fisher. And they took me and dropped me off at Prairie View. Like, okay. Now here I am, graduated high school at 17. I graduated early. At 17, they dropped me off at Prairie View. and I'm rebelling. I'm throwing like the application under the seat, you know. I'm like, I ain't going to college. So they dropped me off. And back then, first thing I saw was sundresses and people handing out cigarettes. You know, I was like, I might like this for a while. Unfortunately, I liked it too much because they sent me back home on the bus after the first semester. So then I started working and doing construction. I got an apartment. Started doing construction work, got an apartment and everything. My baby brother played for Kimball. They had won state, so he had ended up getting a scholarship down in East Texas. So my mother hit me up and was like, "Yo, ride with us. We need to take ski to school. That's what we call them, ski. We got to take ski and drop ski off down in school." So on our way, she had acted like we got lost and dropped us off at this school called Texas College.
Okay.
Texas College was one of the first black colleges in the state of Texas, you know. And it was a college for teachers and preachers, what they call it. But when I got there, it looked like the hood. It was like everybody from all over the country. Like if you was from the hood, you went to Texas College. Like, so we ended up going in the room. So I go in and I met this dude named Joseph Morale, who gave me my first pair of Gators. So Dr. Morale called me in. He's like, yo, son, I got to tell you something. He's like, your parents gone. So I went outside, Mom was gone. Like she had dropped me off, like literally gangstered me, man, dropped me off at college, like with nothing. He was like, yo, by the way, that was like most G's thing that ever happened to me in my life. And he was like, yeah, we got you. You're not going back to Dallas. We already got you a room set up. We already got you enrolled. So I go outside, I'm kind of like, what? I done left my apartment, everything. So I'm kind of furious. So I see this dude sitting on the corner, smoking a Black and Mild. He had a beanie on, had like you could tell he wasn't from Texas, He's from California, Oakland Chills,
I know him.
I met Oakland Chills, so he smoked the Black and Mild. So I started smoking the Black and Mild with him. I was like, hey, yo, man, what you doing, man? Like, my mom, man, just did some foul stuff, man. She dropped me off at college. He was like, hey, yo, my people's dropped me off at college, too. I was like, what? So that was my roommate. We named him Shavari Henson. We named him Oakland Chills out of Oakland, California. Big ups to Shavari, to Oakland, California,
Shout out to Big Oakland.
Yeah, so we was good. We was good. We had some good times. We had some bad times, and we had some good times.
Yes, sir.
But they was all good. And, before you know it, I never went home, because I never was into asking moms for anything. I did what I had to do, did what I had to do. And years went by. Before you know it, they was like, hey, yo, you eligible to graduate. I was like, what? I can graduate? Dude, I didn't even believe I was going to graduate college. I was like, what? End up walking across that stage, it was a beautiful feeling. Moms was there. It's a beautiful feeling, because I didn't think I could do it, Actually, I didn't think I would do much. Cause the time we was living in was like tough. Like I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was just living.
Right.
But to actually graduate from college, like the only one in my family, besides my aunt in Chicago, that was like, that meant a lot to me. So I ended up, got home, couldn't get a job. So everything with black people is through the church. Somebody at church was like, I want you to get in the teacher certification program. So I ended up getting in the teacher certification program just to like get a job, So guess where I end up? Right back over there by Roosevelt, like teaching 6th grade, self-contained, right in the hood.
Yes, sir.
Like my first group of kids I taught, ended up coaching basketball. It was ironic, where I am now. Most of those kids I taught, they got kids and grandkids. They all at the charter school I run now,
Is that
Man,
right?
it's full circle, man. It's beautiful. Like people walk up to you and be like, hey, Mr. J, you still the same. I ain't changed, baby. I'm still pushing for you. I want you to be better than me.
Yeah.
I want you to be, when I get old one day, I still ain't old. I'm that 5'0", but I ain't too old, I still want them to be able to like give me the right prescription on my medicine, want to make sure they talk,
Yeah.
So that's what I'm about.
So life is full circle. So
Yeah.
we talked about your home school early on was going to be Roosevelt. You went to a magnet school. And for those that don't know, I mean, everybody, at least in Dallas, you couldn't just go, right? And I understand other countries is different. I understand, Sweden, Canada. I mean, you can go to different schools sometimes, but it was based on your academic achievements, right? Your ability to score a certain thing in order to make it into those magnet schools, correct?
Yeah. School was easy for me. I used to like act dumb just to be cool. I don't know why. Just like I had some of my gangster partner. They was like, I was like, yeah, man, I got an F. They was like, boy, I wish I had some A's, man. What you doing? I be like, you get an F on purpose just to be doing something, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, school came easy for me for some reason. It's always been easy for me.
So you get this opportunity in this neighborhood that you were very familiar with. And I know you fast forwarded it to meeting the parents and and grandkids and stuff, but you're fresh out of college, you get an opportunity, you're actually teaching. What is your first day like?
My first day was horrible. It was horrible. I was like, what? Dude, I can't deal with these kids, you know? It was like when you the new teacher, like 6th grade in the hood, right? When you a new teacher, they give you all of the bad kids, right? That they say. But they end up being my best kids ever. You know, I wouldn't trade it for the world. Like my second week on the job, dude brought up to me, hey, yo, Mr. J, hold this for me. Like, he handed me a pistol, you know what I'm saying?
What?
He was like, hold this for me, I'm gonna go to lunch, right? This like my second week. So I looked at the pistol, I was like, I called his dad, because I knew that's my hood I grew up in.
Yeah.
I knew who his dad was, His dad was one of them dudes.
Yeah.
So he came up, he was like, man, thank you, Mr. J. I slid the pistol back to him. You know what I'm saying? He said, I don't know what my son was thinking about, I just said maybe he felt like safe, like he probably thought that I could hold his gun for him, I don't know what that was, But that was an idea of like, my first year. That's just one experience out of many in my first year teaching in the inner city.
So what's really breathtaking and also unique to me is we've seen movies, right? We've seen Coach Carter and we've seen Lean on Me. And I even go back and I think about my childhood with some of the schools I went to and those principals and teachers that could relate to the fact that you were impoverished and you may have a gem inside of you. There may be something good inside of you. And they weren't quick to turn you in. They were really trying to develop you. It seems like that's the experience you gave those young children.
Well, yeah, like I used to say, even when I was assistant principal, I was like, I can't save the world, but I can save this moment and this position. I done had times where I done went, up the hill, I ain't gonna say too much because they'll know what it is. It was like, hey, yo, can you just tell everybody to quit selling dope during the day? And homeboy was like, yo, Mr. J, I got you. Like, they need to be in school anyway.
Yeah.
Like, and like, they made those cats go to school. Like, I ain't have no problems. That's how I had it over there. It was like that.
That's amazing.
Yeah. We had double-digit scores. Everybody wondering what the magic pill is. What did I do to clean up schools? Because I became the dude that went to clean up schools. I became that dude, the cleanup dude. Man, all I was doing was just having conversation. You just have conversation. Being real is just real in everything you do. Just having a conversation.
Somebody told me that it's really doing the right thing when no one's looking, and it sounds like you knew what community you were serving, not just meaning African American, but you knew that there were needs.
Yeah.
And instead of you abandoning those needs and saying, "Oh, I'm gonna call the cops for this, and I'm gonna call the cops for that, and I'm gonna get your probation officer on you," you were giving these young people an opportunity to make mistakes, but you were guiding them.
Man, you embrace it. Man, what kind of dude is you to be able to go through everything, all your struggles, and then you can't give back to the people behind you? I just ain't gonna be that kind of dude. I'm gonna make sure whoever it is, I mean, whatever my gifts is, I can like bless the people behind me. I done did my thing and fulfill my purpose on this earth. Like somebody gonna know I was here. Absolutely. Somebody, that's how I live.
Okay, so that's awesome. So you taught at the elementary school, and then what happened next?
Oh man, wow! I don't know. I had this principal like who used to be on me. Right. As a matter of fact, she just got Harnell Williams. I'm gonna say her name, and she retired. She just got introduced in the Hall of Fame.
Wow.
Right here in Dallas, man. She used to be on me. I don't know why she took me in, and like after 6 years of teaching, she put my name in the hat and was like, "Yeah, I want you to be in this principal program." It was under this dude named Mike Moses, who ended up like working for the president,
Wow.
like, yeah, like I ended up being in that program. I was the only African American in that program, right? And one of my professors was Diane Patrick. She ended up being a Texas senator. She has a school named after her in Arlington,
Wow.
right? And she was like, she said, Mr. Jefferson, I got to be honest with you. Like, I misjudged you when you came in, She said, but you one of the brightest students I ever had, like, in my career. I mean, and to this day, we cool. She even helped me pass my superintendent's, certification,
That's amazing.
I mean, it's just funny how life go. It's just, I don't know. It's just like this overnight. And those 2 years, I ended up becoming a magnet school coordinator, where I got exposed to the arts and all of that. And, I got in trouble, though, because I started recruiting, African-American kids, They weren't too happy about that. It was too many African-American kids coming, because a lot of those kids, we were from to Booker T, which is arts man. That's where Erykah Badu went. Some of the people that you may be familiar with, they produce a lot of artists at Booker T, Washington. And Sidney Lanier was the elementary school that fed into Griner, which fed into Booker T.
Okay.
So I ended up, being in that circle for a minute, learning tricks of the trades there. Then I end up getting a phone call. It was political, because one of the area superintendents called me and was like, hey, Mr. Jefferson, what you do to piss them folks off? They want to they want to get rid of you, like you recruiting too many black people. That was a real conversation.
Wow.
And she was like, we heard about your ability to work with the people. So that's how I ended up getting at Roosevelt High School. I was actually the youngest African-American assistant principal at that time.
Wow.
Right. They took a chance on me. Yeah, my first day on the job, that's another first day. It was like a full-blown ride on the first day. Somebody got the bright idea to get Wilma Hutchins, and Wilma Hutchins was closing. That was like one of the biggest rivalries for Roosevelt.
Absolutely.
Somebody had the bright idea to invite those kids to Roosevelt. So,
oh my goodness.
Yeah, but something beautiful came out of it. As time went by, those kids got together, man. They won a state championship together, man. Basketball. It was beautiful,
right?
man. They won a state championship, man. And I was able to put a bunch of those kids in my car and take them to my college, Texas College, and get them scholarships and stuff like that. It ended up being a beautiful experience.
When I listen to this, and knowing some of the intricacies internally, the thing that I'm most shocked about and that I understand is that we're all given a road. Some of us complain about the road. Some of us quit before we get up the road. Some of us refuse to walk. But it seems like you had adversity. You had adversity before every triumph. So what motivated you to go on?
Man, I just know, like, man, Rhett, that's a trick of the enemy to get you off of what your focus is or what your purpose is. It's like right as soon as you give up, boom, there come the blessing. I'm just gonna wait it out and wait through my blessing. I'm just gonna, the Israelites were traveling for 30 years. The promised land was right across the mountain. Like all they had to do was walk across the mountain. I'll be patient enough to endure, and listen. And they could have just, walked over to the promised land. That's just how I live my life. I just endure, I know who I serve, and I know what my gift is. I know what my purpose is. That's the thing. A lot of people don't know what their purpose is. Once you know what your purpose is, it's easy. Because you be like, this is my purpose. This is what I do. This is what I'm born for, right? And that's what keeps you going when you know that.
Mm. So, as a resident of Dallas, and I'm going to assume that you're not up on the latest hip hop trends or some of the past hip hop trends.
Now, talk to me about some KRS-One or some Public Enemy or something. I'm still stuck in the day. I'm in the time machine.
Stuck in the good day.
Yeah, I'm still stuck in the day.
But right now you have an audience, and I no longer live in Dallas, but I know that we experienced some tough times for the last couple of years as it relates to young people killing each other, doing what they call sliding, dissing each other's on a song like a drill song, and then people getting shot up for no reason. What advice but you give the youth so that they can find their gift, pursue their gift, and not get caught up in these tricks and this genocide.
My only advice, because I don't know what a person's shoes that they're walking in, but in my experience, if you focus on what matters, which is the money, and tie everything back to getting the money, getting knowledge, focus on how can we come up together? How can we not be divided? That'll end all of that. But right now we get divided so easy by material things, and by foolishness, just ignorance, not being educated, not having knowledge of self, just start off with getting knowledge. Find out who you are, find out what if you don't know, just keep asking or keep searching, whatever you're good at. If you're good at something and it doesn't feel like work to you, that's your gift. If it feel like work to you, that's not your gift, right? If it feel like this is what I do, man, pursue that gift, and that's a start. That's a start and find who you are and what you're here for.
No, that's amazing, because there's so many people that are lost, and I hope these words will be helpful to them. So I'm going to jump a little bit because I want to capture something. So you were teaching at the elementary school. You ended up being an assistant principal, one of the youngest African American assistant principals.
Yeah.
What happened next?
What happened next? I end up being the cleanup guy. So they wanted me to clean up at this high school, right? So this gangbanger ended up coming to the high school, which used to be one of my kids. And without going into too much detail, he knocked the principal out. So me and the principal, we handled our business and got him about the school. So instead of the district having our back, they it was all on the news. They was we beating up kids, and it was a whole big deal. And they ran me out of Dallas, So at the time when they ran me out, I started going to the library trying to find out how to start nonprofits. I started researching, charter schools, researching how to build my own charter school. So when I did, I ended up hooking up with the mayor of Glen Heights, right? And he kind of took me in, Mayor Tate, shout out to Tate. And I ended up getting the city of Glen Heights to say we're gonna put a charter school in Glen Heights, because they didn't have a school district at all.
Wow.
So I took it to the Texas Education Agency. It was called Project Genesis Glen Heights Academy. We got all the way, I got investors and everything. We got all the way to the point. But I went as an African American, they saw I was an African American, they was they turned it down at the very last minute. That never happened.
Wow.
Right now I say it was foolish because I went before those people just by myself as a black man. I should have had a crew, some different, persuasions, but that was a learning experience for me. And I ended up getting into the charter world, and I ended up becoming a principal in the charter world, a superintendent in Garland. I was in Garland, and they hired me as a superintendent. Man, I was the superintendent of an all-white school district. I'm from Mississippi, but from Mississippi through Oak Cliff, and I ended up at an all-white school district. I was man, life is funny, So I ended up leaving there, ended up going to Zoe, one of my partners, Bishop Rose, out of H-Town. Shout out to H-Town.
Shout out to
They had a, right there in 5th Ward, he had a school there and then another school here in Dallas. So I would go back and forth. I was the compliance officer.
Right?
Yeah. And he was about to retire, and him and his wife was going to leave me to be the superintendent there, right? So some things happened that I can't discuss, and I ended up going to A.W. Brown Leadership Academy, man. And people heard about me. I just got a phone call one day. Then at that time, A.W. Brown Leadership Academy was the largest African-American charter school district, black-owned, in the state of Texas.
Wow.
Even to this day, we still own our own property. And that was 5 years ago, and I'm still here, doing some great things, promoting leadership, not too long ago, you know, Fred Hammond's just filmed this movie there.
Wow.
You know, like we got, you know, a lot of things going on there, man. I'm really just blessed and thankful.
That's amazing. I'm glad that you're giving back. Listen, hopefully, you guys, it's funny, I was having a conversation with Alex McDaniel, one of the guys who filmed it, and he's a IT director, our technical director.
Right.
And we were talking about the difficulties that arise, but how, you know, if you work hard and you work harder, you can overcome all of those various things. And when I'm sitting here listening to you, it looks like there were people willing to give you an opportunity, and then you had the willingness to walk through that door. So it takes a large amount of courage. So speak on the faith and the courage that it took to walk through those doors.
Yeah, first of all, like, I'm fearless. I know I'm God's son. Like, I'm real about that. And man, what do you gotta lose? You know, like, all a person can do is crack the door open for you. I'm kicking that sucker open. I'm coming through. You gotta tell me no. You know, but you know, if I got an opportunity, that's just what that is. I'm just gonna do that. That's just me though. I can't speak for everybody. That's just how I'm built. Like, everybody built different. Like, some people okay, and there's nothing wrong with it. Some people okay with, you know, where they are. You know, and I had to learn that, you know, and that's good, you know. You know, so, and I really can't judge. It's for me, I just know, nah, I ain't having it. Like, you tell me no. Like, that's the best thing you can do to fuel me. Just tell me no. Watch what I do. Just watch what I do next. But what I do, you know, I do because of the gift God gave me, so that He can do everything I do.
All right.
And I'm for real.
Yes, man. This has been an amazing part of what it is. And this will be a documentary, movie. And what we'll do is we'll details. I mean, because there are details. Times you said, you know, we're not going to get it.
Yeah,
and it's amazing. It's amazing that you say those things, because into that, right? Those, what I call those flavorings, those details, they got us to the next step.
Right.
One day, but
Right.
today, and what we celebrate.
Right.
Graduation coming up, don't you?
Sunday, Price is gonna be the keynote speaker. Actually, I'm graduating. I can't think of his name. Fantasia is graduating with me. Right? They're gonna be there. Biden's supposed to be coming. Like, life is amazing. I can't believe where I am. There's some things, man, you know, be like blessed with. But guess what? And so do you. Whoever you are listening here, you deserve whatever your gifts are. You know, you're supposed to have it.
Well, listen, man. Listen, if I had a book, or I had a movie, a documentary, I'd call it The Superintendent. And we had Anthony Jefferson. He was a guy I grew up with. AJ.
The enforcer.
The enforcer.
That's another
Rapper. Dope rapper, by the way. And now, graduating and already with the name, we have had, and gratefully had, Dr. Anthony Jefferson with us today. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate you.
Man, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you.